rules that were forced on universities in handling sexual harassment cases.
Right.
That I felt essentially did away with due process.
Yes.
And I think the victim, as a father of three daughters, I take very seriously any question of sexual harassment. It's a serious problem, and the word of a victim has to be taken very seriously, and it has to be pursued. But we can't do it at the expense of the Bill of Rights or basic fairness and due process.
Both the accused and the accuser deserve due process, do they not?
That's right.
Tell me what the legal basis is for a universal injunction.
I think universal injunctions have no. Well, let me say that they are a recent vintage. They really started arising in the '60s, and I think that they have lost sight of a limitation on the judicial power of the United States, which is case or controversy.
It's all based on the D.C. Circuit
Right.
case. The word's case, is that right?
I forgot the name of the case, but I think the D.C. Circuit case was the first one. I think that was in the '60s, and people have lost sight of the fact that it's really a question of who gets the relief in a case. And under the case or controversy, it should be limited to the parties. And when earlier you could have a court in one jurisdiction decide it, and that would be the rule in that jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. But that didn't debar the government from continuing its policies elsewhere, and eventually you'd get differences, and they would work their way up to the Supreme Court. I think that I'd like to see these universal injunctions challenged.
Well, I don't know how many federal district court judges we have. Let's say 650. As I understand it, one can enjoin a congressional statute nationwide, even if the other 624 judges disagree.
That's right. And not just a statute, Senator. I think what's different, what we're seeing is the willingness of courts to set aside, even the kinds of exercises of national security power that, 20 years ago would have been unimaginable for a court to challenge. And yet a district court judge somewhere can enjoin some action that has a bearing on the safety of the nation. And then the judicial process can take years and years to get that up to the Supreme Court.
I've just got a few seconds left. As I understand your testimony, General, Mr. Mueller will write a report, submit it to you as Attorney General, and then you will write a report based on that report and release your report. Is that right?
That's essentially it, but I wouldn't assume, it could easily be that the report is communicated to the department before, assuming I was confirmed. That could be a month away.
Well, let me tell you what I'm getting at.